Planning youth group meetings can be hard. Maybe you're like me and you've known for a long time that you want to be a youth director, but more than likely you probably just found yourself in that position because you made more sense than anyone else to do it. Well, if you've got the right spirit and personality for a youth director, but just don't know where to start when it comes to planning meetings, then this video is for you. In this video, not only will we talk about how to plan your own youth group meetings, but also how to tie them into an overarching theme for the whole year. Plus, at the end, I'll point you to where you can get 4 of the best fully fleshed out youth group meetings to get you started. Before planning any individual meetings, the first thing that you want to do if you want to elevate your group to the next level is pick a theme for the year. If one meeting you talk about forgiveness, and then the next one is identity, and then the one after that is Easter, you run the risk of your meetings feeling all disjointed. And although it's definitely possible for you to provide a lot of value to your group this way, it's a lot harder for your youth to remember what you talked about. Say instead you chose a theme like Step Into It, where each individual meeting focuses on how you can take action and embrace the opportunities around you. Now you can have a meeting called Step Into Fear, where you talk about how fear limits our true potential and the steps that you can take to overcome that. Or you could have a meeting called Step Into Leadership, where you focus on the qualities of a good leader and you talk about how leaders always seek out opportunities to lead. This makes your curriculum more consistent, and so it's easier for your group to remember, as well as it gives you a direction where you should be headed. The key to choosing a theme for the year is to just pick something and then see if you can come up with 8 to 10 individual meeting ideas for that theme. They don't have to be perfect ideas. This is really just to make sure that your theme is broad enough that it can encompass a whole year. Themes that I've seen work really well in the past are things like portraits, where each meeting focuses on a different person and how they exemplify a certain quality. You could have a year called Ubuntu, which is a Swahili word which means I am because we are, and you could talk about how you can come together as a community and make each other stronger. Or you could have a more straightforward theme, like the parables of Jesus, or parts of the Sermon on the Mount, or each individual verse of Psalm 23. There's really a ton of options. So now that you've got guidance for the whole year, let's talk about the structure of the individual meetings. This may change slightly depending on how often you meet or for how long, but focus on the point of each individual component so that you can choose what's right for you. My meetings are on Sunday nights from 5:30 to 8:30, so 3 hours total. For the first 30 minutes, we have a sizable snack that people can rely on for dinner, and we just hang out and talk. The reason I like starting with this is because 1, people are always late, and so this way they're actually here by the time you start doing your important stuff. And number 2, this intentional time together is a really good opportunity to catch up and have some laughs. I think that having food is a big positive because everybody loves food, but you should decide early on how big your snack is going to be. Either always have enough food for people to be able to consider it dinner, or just always have light snacks. If you flip-flop back and forth, people won't know whether or not they should eat ahead of time, and then they do, and then you have a ton of extra food left over. My group also has about a 15-minute window in the beginning for things like announcements, which is pretty much just upcoming youth group meetings, but then we also open by sitting in a circle around a candle. Before we start, I ask everyone, what do we have to light the candle for tonight? Which basically just means, what prayers do you have? This is a serious time where the youth can talk about the good, bad, exciting, or scary things that they have going on in their life. We then pray over those things, light the candle, and then keep it lit for the rest of the meeting as a reminder that Jesus, the light of the world, is always with us. Next up, we play a name game. Knowing someone's name is kind of the most basic way that you can show you care about someone, and so I try to give an opportunity every meeting for them to say their names. This also makes it really easy for new people to just jump right in, but the key is to play name games that are actually fun. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be posting a video that has 7 name games that you can play with your group. I also make sure that every meeting has at least one high energy game. If you have a group of young people together for multiple hours and you don't let them get any of that energy out, they're not going to have a good time. It also helps if this high energy game is something visual, because it makes people more likely to remember the game and also tell their friends about it. During one of our meetings, we did an activity where they pulled my car with a rope, and during another meeting, we played kickball with plastic wrap around our legs, that sort of thing. And finally, one of the games should tie into your lesson, because the lesson is the entire point of having youth group. The games, the snack, everything else is just all about being able to get them to the end where that lesson is being taught. I want to mention that most people have problems getting people out to youth group because they either focus too much on the games or they focus too much on the lesson. If your meetings are nothing but showing up and then talking about the Bible for an hour, I'm sorry, but no middle school student is ever going to want to stick around for that. It's really hard not to make it boring, and they won't remember anything that you teach if they come at all. On the opposite side though, some people focus only on games the entire time, and while they have an easier time drawing people out, there's no meaning behind the group. There's no connections made between the members, their faith isn't strengthened, and then as soon as they graduate high school, they just leave the church entirely. The key is using the games to help you teach your lesson, and that is so important. It is the foundation of why this channel exists. I'll say it again. The key is using the games to help you teach your lesson. When you play something like Salsa 2 Ways, you've got the fun aspect that draws people in and makes memories, but then you've also got a natural transition into a deeper meaning. Not only that, your lesson will connect a lot more if you can point to a specific experience that they've had. If you sit down and tell your group it's important to share things with each other, they'll say, duh, I know that, I'm in middle school, I know everything. But the hard thing in life isn't often knowing what to do, it's following through on what you know is right. So when you can point specifically to the moment in Salsa 2 Ways where group 1 chose not to share their utensils with group 2, you can use that to facilitate a meaningful discussion. In addition to your name game, high energy game, and game that ties into your lesson, you still might have a little bit of extra time. This can be filled with any sort of game you want to play just for fun, or ideally you can find one more activity that ties into your lesson. If your group only meets for close to an hour, consider just having that one activity that ties into your teaching and then that teaching at the end. And speaking about that teaching, I normally leave about 30 minutes at the end for that purpose, but as I've been getting better and my group has opened up more, I've actually needed closer to like 45 minutes. This is the part where you break down their experience with the meaningful games that you've played and you present any media that you might have. I found that videos tend to grab the attention of young people better than any other sort of media, and so I try to find some sort of video that reflects the point I'm making. I actually go out of my way to try to find videos that aren't specifically meant for a church setting, but still tie in perfectly to what we're talking about. I think it's a lot more powerful to show youth how they can see God in everyday life than it is to pull up some sort of biblical study or some sermon. To give you an example, watch The Broccoli Tree on YouTube by the Vlogbrothers, a video that has absolutely nothing to do with God, but I've used it to talk about vulnerability and how it's necessary for developing relationships. I come up with a series of discussion questions to help guide the conversation, but I try really hard to get them involved too. Your lesson shouldn't be a one-way avenue where you just talk at them for 30 minutes, but you should instead be trying to figure out how what you're talking about manifests itself in your youth's lives. Keeping your discussion questions open-ended helps a lot with this, and don't be afraid to let the conversation go somewhere you might not have been anticipating. We then look at our scriptural component, and I've actually got these little laminated pieces of paper that I call scripture tags that are a one-word summary of the meeting as well as the Bible verse. We close with prayer, allowing each person a chance to speak, and then that's the end of our meeting. So now that you know how the meetings are structured, I'll let you in on the secret to how to write one yourself. Write the meeting backwards. What I mean by that is write the curriculum in the opposite order than it's experienced. So start first with the lesson, then find the game that supports that lesson, and then with any extra time, find the fun games. Doing it this way ensures that the heart of the meeting still comes through and that you're prioritizing the right things. Now, I know that this is all probably pretty daunting, and in truth, it kind of is. It takes a lot of time to come up with meetings that are fun and meaningful, and most people don't want to put that intentionality into coming up with that, and then they scratch their heads why no one comes to their meetings. If you've liked the idea of what we're talking about, but are still unsure whether you're ready to make your own from scratch, I want to introduce you to something that we've been working on our website that will help alleviate most of the work for you, so that you can run high-level meetings without spending hours preparing your own material. I took 4 of the best standalone meetings that I've ever written and formatted them into PDFs that you can use for your own group. Each meeting was created using the exact methodology from this video, and all you'd have to do is follow along with a few tweaks to fit your specific circumstances. You can find it on our website, and the download comes with everything you need, from the curriculum to handouts and even down to the template for the scripture tags. As a thank you for watching this video all the way to the end, I want to give you a chance to see if you think this curriculum's right for you, and so I've included the first of those 4 meetings for free in the description below. Also on our website, you'll find our jumbo letter tiles, 3.5 by 3.5 inch laser engraved wooden tiles that you can play dozens of unique games with, as well as the Comfy Chair, a deck of cards with over 300 questions carefully curated to help you build meaningful relationships within your group. The videos for both of those are in the description as well. And if you think this video was helpful, you might consider watching the video I posted a few weeks ago about how to plan your youth group schedule for the year, because it goes hand in hand with what we've been talking about today. But thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate your support.